All right, I've tried recording this video about 3 times with my regular camera, which filled up with data, and then the battery died. So I'm doing this by hanging my phone camera upside down on the camera stand because I'm gonna do this video while I'm still thinking about it, or I'm just gonna put it on the back burner and never do it. And I need to do it. The only problem is now I can't look at the picture of the spider that I was trying to not quite duplicate, but at least get close to. YouTube problems, huh? But yeah, no, I know if I try to throw this on the back burner, it's gonna back burn to the point that I'm never gonna get to it. Because it's already taken me this long to get to it after telling people I was going to. Anyways, I'm starting a lore series. Starting with Warhammer 40k, well, actually starting with everything. But basically, I'm going to start with defining a little bit more of canon. And what I mean by that is basically, so you got with every IP, especially the larger IPs, but with every IP, you have the problem of what is and isn't canon. Because a lot of things grow too large, develop into multiple things, or just, have the problem of just being big and having multiple writers that don't always double check. Like, heck, even when you have singular writers like Jim Butcher and Harry Dresden, here's a very modern example. Not to throw any shade on him, he's a great author, but with his latest books, he's kind of started stepping on his old canon to the point that, like, at first I thought, well, maybe it's just Harry Dresden, learning more of the world, growing up and learning more stuff, until I noticed that, no, Harry Dresden's acting like he always knew this stuff. So it's not really Harry Dresden, growing up and learning more of the world. It's just Jim Butcher having written too many books, mixing them up a little bit, or trying to get to the plot a little quicker than what we're ready for. Which is also something, sadly, that happens. Like, you can even find the same stuff with George Lucas and Star Wars, or even like the people that are like, Disney Star Wars. Like, Disney's not my Star Wars. I'm like, well, that's great. It doesn't have to be. Do what I do and just basically take what you like and ignore the rest. That's what I do with a lot of my game. Basically, I live by the law of everything is canon, nothing is canon. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by everything is canon, nothing is canon. Basically, the problem is, because again, with huge IPs and stuff, you have that horrible mix shape of accidentally overstepping getting their own canon wrong, messing up canon when someone else is writing the book, stuff like that. Happens all the time with every IP. Every IP has this problem. Some have it more than others. Star Wars got it really bad. Warhammer 40k has it really bad. Me multi-lasers! What the freak's a multi-laser? I don't know. It's, just stuff like that. Or the fact that suddenly, the meta in a game will change, and suddenly characters will be built differently for different balance, and so the way they were set up in the books doesn't fit anymore. Just simple stuff like that. But that'll throw over the canon. Now, people have the hierarchy of canon. I hear that one actually a lot, the hierarchy of canon. And the hierarchy of canon kind of works, and I will not begrudge people for holding to it, because if I live by the law of everything is canon, nothing's canon, I can't really begrudge other people for living by their law of, hierarchy of canon. Hierarchy of canon, like for 40k, is basically the rule book is the highest canon, because the rule book is impartial, it doesn't have any singular army, has its goal, and it just kind of, it's the rule book. And then after that, you have the codexes, which are the second biggest canon, because the only problem with the codexes being that someone's phone's ringing. Anyways, the only problem being with the codexes is a lot of the times what's in them ignores other codexes. That happens actually quite a bit. Like when you had the Grey Knight Codex, where they killed all and bathed in the blood of a bunch of Sisters of Battle, because that made a lot of no sense. It's like, let's do a rite of Khorne to defend ourselves from Khorne. It's like that makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. And I'm blaming you, Matt Ward. I blame Matt Ward for a lot of things that he didn't do. I think he did this one, but I'm not sure. I'm going to blame him anyways because, I'm not a big fan of Matt Ward. Most old fans aren't. Some of them is just because it's, very trendy to not be a fan of Matt Ward. And some of it's because we read his stuff and also because of his stupid Ultramarine comment. But anyways, I'm rambling, which I'm going to be doing in all these videos because, that's what I do is I ramble. But anyways, so basically you have the hierarchy where you have the codexes as the next in line. And then below the codexes, you have the Black Library books. Because everything in the Black Library books is canon, just not everything is true. They're basically best seen as in-world propaganda. The Chaos books, of course, are going to put the Chaos people at the head. The Imperial books are going to put the Imperial at the head, and yada, 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 yada. To basically create that wonderful mix and dichotomy of... No, there's the next yellow. And so there you have that. And then after that, depending on who you are, is then the video games or the Fantasy Flight books. I personally put the Fantasy Flight, if I was going to do the hierarchy of, I'd put the Fantasy Flight above the video games, because the video games, and I apologize to everyone who got into 40K through Dawn of War, but Dawn of War was, oh gosh, was it bad when it came to lore. Was it horrible? Dawn of War is, ugh. It's really bad. A lot of people really like it, and that's fine. It's a fun game, especially the first one. Second one, not so much. Third one, oh, was it bad? But, so that's, and a lot of people, so a lot of people will put the Fantasy Flights above the video games. I personally do it the other way around, especially when it comes to things like, Fire Warrior, which is another, again, what I considered was a really, really fun game. But canon-wise, I don't really see a Tau Fire Warrior taking on all that stuff. It's another good way of basically saying, in-world propaganda. Fire Warrior was definitely Tau propaganda. Definitely Tau propaganda. And so basically you have that dichotomy of, the hierarchy. And then people do with Star Wars, I hear a lot of the times the highest stuff is the original movies. And then the original George Lucas books, which he didn't write, but whatever. And then the original... then the prequels, and then Disney on the bottom. And then you got the Disney fans that do it the other way around, with the Disney movies, then the originals, actually then the prequels, and then the original. It's very, very back and forth. Very, very, very back and forth. But that's the problem with the hierarchy of canon, is everyone has a different hierarchy of canon, which is why, again, I go with the rule of everything is canon, nothing is canon. Because then I get to pick what I want and what I like out of canon, and ignore what I don't want or I don't like. Isn't that fun, being able to pick what you want? Instead of having to be stuck with any certain... So basically, when it comes to me, you're going to run into the problem of I take everything as canon and nothing as canon. So I'll give you multiple views and ideas of different things, and I'll try to keep it multiple views. But I will always stick what I hold as canon, which is not what you have to hold as canon, which is perfectly fine, because really when it comes down to things like Warhammer 40k, especially games that you can play with, or that you're writing in, or anything like that, when it really comes down to it, they're your guys. When you're the fan playing in the world, you can do whatever the heck you want. So you don't have to, like, my Hello Kitty Marines are perfectly canon. I don't have Hello Kitty Marines. I kind of want them now. But my Hello Kitty Marines are perfectly canon now. Because, the Emperor protects, yada yada, other stuff like that. And he took over a realm that had Hello Kitties or Felinids or whatever you want to call them. And the male Felinids made really nice Space Marines, so they ended up becoming the Hello Kitty Marines. There you go. Or you can have Malal, which is still technically, and Malal is a fun story, and we'll get into that when I cover Malal. Especially since the main reason why Malal's not talked about anymore, a lot of it has to do with copyright more than anything else. Okay, after this layer, it's time to move to a smaller brush. And so you got your hierarchy of canon, and then you've also got your, what I said. And in my personal opinion, it's the best and easiest way to go through life. Because you're going to be a lot less angry. Because that way when they break canon, you're like, well, they didn't technically break canon because there is no canon. Because when you have that many people writing an IP, you're going to have people making mistakes. It's going to happen. People are going to make mistakes. And the easiest way to go through that is just to ignore it. Otherwise, you're going to go through life a lot angrier. You don't want to go through life angry. Going through life angry sucks. I should know. I had to go through anger management classes. Yeah, going through life angry just sucks. Don't do it. Save yourself from the horrible problems, and just, accept that everything is canon and nothing is canon. Everything is correct and nothing is correct. I think that's basically it for this video, because that's all I really had to continue and go on for the first video, is basically just stating out that, and I'm going to shorten it down to an easier disclaimer. Basically, if everything is canon, nothing is canon, fight me, bro. Because really, when it comes down to it, it's your army. It's your world. It's your game. You're a fan. Do what you want. Accept Star Wars Disney. Don't accept Star Wars Disney. Accept the, all this different stuff. Don't accept all the different stuff. You are the fan. You're the one who gets to make that decision. You are the one. Not Disney, not Lucas, not anyone. You. And so there you go. That's my take on the world. Be a fan. Get in arguments. That's fine. But accept at the end of the day that people are going to think differently than you, because, that's what we do. Everything is canon and nothing is canon. Everyone kind of lives by that rule, whether they believe it or not. Because there's a lot of things people take as canon that other people don't. Like, I've found people even take fan-made ideas as canon over the actual established lore that the player has built, and that's fine. Best thing to do is don't try and force your canon on other people. Just live life. We're all fans. Let's have some fun. Like, it's fine to talk about different things or why you think the canon is this way or why you think the canon is that way. That's fine, but everyone's canon, everyone's got a different canon, including the creator. And when the creator comes out and says, well, this is the way I meant it, okay, well, that's the way it's going, that's the way he meant it. That's fine. And, that's fine. That's the creator. He also has his own canon. Don't push your canon over his. And a lot of people will side with the creator because, he is the creator. It's his world. And the creator technically has the final say. That being said, when you do your fan book or your fan art or your fan whatever, you don't really have to use the creator's world. You can base it off the creator's world, but you don't have to follow his canon. Now, that being said, that does not make yours the new canon. Only for you. It only makes it the new canon for you. And I guess other people who follow you and like you, but you did not suddenly create something new. If you do, you can go out and actually create something new. And then you can tell other people, yeah, this is what it is. And, and then the same thing will happen. You'll have people go, well, this is what I thought. That's fine. It's basically interpretation of art versus the creator's intent. You can never flow over the creator's intent, but you can interpret it differently. That doesn't mean that that's what you interpret is correct. It does not. It does not matter at all that what you think is the correct is not the correct. Like, you can interpret this spider as a frog. That does not mean that it suddenly becomes a frog and that anyone who calls it a spider is wrong. But you can interpret it that way. I don't know why you would interpret it as a frog. I think my creeping battlefield is fine just as it is, but you do you. Anyways, I think that's it for this video because now I'm just rambling. So I'm going to finish painting them up. Maybe I'll give a picture for YouTube for you guys. Anyways, sorry that it ended up being on a cell phone. I really hope it didn't stop recording halfway through. That would be my 4th attempt then. Have a wonderful day.